Welcome to the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi After the Show podcast. Murphy got a phone call yesterday afternoon while he was still coming out of his sedation. So I hope this is all really true, what you were telling me, and I only know a little bit.
It is true. It actually started with a text. It was late afternoon. This is the most exciting thing for me personally because I don't know how to explain it other than just it's a throwback. It's a family thing. Remember, I sold my dad's Corvette.
Oh, yeah.
66
My brother and
Corvette.
sister and I sold his 1966 Corvette, and that was, I guess that's been now 3 or 4 months ago. The gentleman who bought it doesn't live too far from here, and his whole thing is he just wants to restore it to run it. He's not going to make it competition grade or anything like that. He just wants it to
You're
run.
going to drive it around town, huh?
Yeah. So I get a text yesterday from him explaining that, hey, with pictures. And I'm like, wow, the front end looks like it's been painted or polished up, and the actual hubcaps are back on it. It's got new tires, and then shots of the engine. He's repainted the engine part and all that.
Lord.
So I called him. I said, hey, look, if you get this thing running, I want to hear it. Can you send me a video once you do that? He's like, yeah, it's running. I'm like, wow.
What? Yeah.
So I actually have sound of that. He sent that literally to me just a few moments ago. So it's funny. I feel like a kid right now because I can't wait to hear what this sounds like because I haven't heard this car since I was in 9th grade. Literally was the last time that it ran. It had very distinct sound to it. And this came from his smartphone, so I'm not sure how great it's going to sound, but we're going to see. But before we do that, I got so lost in the pictures, and we'll post those up on our socials so you can see them. I just kept thinking, God, my dad would love to see this, which is ironic because it was his, and he's not here anymore to see it. But it's just one of those things where I think that's the reason that I cannot wait. When I called him, I said, not only do I want video, I'd love to ride in it at some point. It's like, no problem. So we'll do
You
that.
think he'll let you drive it?
Oh, he probably will. Yeah.
I know we're supposed to go see it. Like whenever he invites us, we're going to go. It's not far from here. We're going to go one Saturday and go see the little red Corvette.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've already invited my brother and sister to see if that's something they want to do. And but yeah, and he lives out in a rural area, so there's no danger of me hitting something. So here's the video of him cranking it up for one of the first times since it hasn't run in 40 years. Here we go. He's back at the exhaust. That is a lot of what it sounded like. I know the quality's not great.
That's what.
Wow.
Man. You know what's surprising?
I can't wait to hear that in real. When you text a video, sometimes it doesn't sound as.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
What surprised me, too, is what you told me that he found when he started digging under that hood. Was that your dad had already replaced things?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so my dad what he discovered was the spark plugs had never been fired once that were in there. So to go back, the last time that the car ran, I was about to start the 9th grade, and fuel started spewing from the carburetor. It had not run in a while. My dad continued to try to work on it. I'd forgotten that he was doing brake work and all that at that time, and for some reason, he just stopped, and I don't know why. So it had a brand new carburetor on it already. It had new spark plugs in it already. It had new brakes already. There were a lot of things that the tires were definitely not new, but when he started, my dad had actually done a fair amount of work on it. And he said that the first time that he cranked it, it was clacking really, really loud. And he would let it run, for like 1,000 RPM for about 5 minutes, and then he would let it idle, and then he would push it up a little bit higher. It just continued clacking. He turned it off, cranked it back up, clacking. He went back inside. Later that afternoon, he came back out again. When he cranked it, it was fine. It made no noise. He doesn't have to do any sort of major engine repair work to it or anything like that.
And I'm sure he expected to have to do engine repair work.
He did, yeah.
So here's my question. Is he only cranking it and sort of revving it like we heard, or is he driving it? Has he driven it down his country road?
So I don't know. He's not actually driving it yet because I don't think that, I don't. Maybe he's got the brake lines filled up. He still had something else to do before he actually takes it out. So by the time now that we're doing this podcast, he actually may have already
driving it now.
driven it. But.
You mentioned something about the front of it being all polished up. Did he polish it up or paint it?
I'm gonna have to figure this out when I go see him. It looks like the chrome has definitely been restored on the bumpers, so he's had some professional work done. It wasn't.
I bet that looks cool.
Right, this wasn't turnkey, and this is a guy he's in his retirement. It's his personal passion. I guess he's got money saved up to be able to do that kind of stuff, and it really the photos are it's really just incredible to me how good the car actually looks. I mean,
and aren't you so glad that he's the one that bought it, because it was not something that you had the time to do. You and your family didn't want to sink the money into it. It's such a project, but it's like you've kept the lines of communication open, so you're going to get to. If you'd have sold it to someone who was going to show it or something, you may have never heard from that person again.
Yeah. Possible, yeah.
I know.
I think it's part of that car collecting culture, though. That's why they get together and they do these car shows on the weekends, and they visit and they talk. I mean, honestly, I'm enjoying that part of it, even though we don't own the vehicle anymore. I'm really liking that part of it. I guess I get that. I love the thrill of the engine, and I mean. It's not practical. We did the right thing by selling it, the three of us. In fact, I decided what I was going to do is if, that's the ride that we always wanted. I took my portion of the money, and that's what I bought, when we had to get rid of Taylor's car in its last leg. That's what I, used to buy my next car. And so I'm through my dad, I'm at least going to enjoy some, of that. But there's no substitute for that original. And I can't wait to go visit with him. His name is Roland. And
I think it's cool that he's already jumped on it. And he's got it that far
obviously,
along.
In other words, he didn't buy it and he's not letting it sit.
Yeah,
it's
so we'll have
sitting.
to. I know we can't describe the photos
it's so
here,
shiny.
but
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that looks
much shinier than when it was in our carport, Murph. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, he's done an incredible, job of just getting it, getting it back.
Fantastic.
And that's exactly, what he wanted. So yeah. It's pretty cool.
That's what you guys wanted for that car. You just didn't realize it. That is what you wanted it to be, respected for what it is, something beautiful.
Yeah.
Something beautiful
by somebody
and rare.
who appreciates what it is
and
from
it's
that
nearby
era.
too, so you can always go visit it.
Yes.
Missed any part of the show? Get it all on the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi podcast.